get the car to move forwards, I have to have the revs up really high, like up around 3.5, 4,000. If I go into reverse, it does reverse, but you can hear it whining. You go forward, to actually move forward, had to get it up to about 3,000 just to get movement. Also, early on, it kind of cuts out while revving. You hear it spinning up and there's not much going on. Also have a grey fluid dripping out of the bell housing. I believe it's metal. Torque converter is out. The fluid, a bronze, brown pink colour, chocolate with a slight tinge of pink. So because my tranny fluid went milky, there might be a problem with the oil cooler. I put a new oil cooler on because my original was leaking. Second-hand, apparently good running unit in. About a month later, all of my fluid went milky. You can see milky fluid coming out just there right now. You see it's dripping because I actually blew air into this. So I've just undone it from here. And I blow air in. Some of the fluid can be blown out with air, cleaning out the line. I'll put a tube on this and I'm going to pump some fresh fluid through it. I've now taken the other side off. You can see that one down there, that's the transmission. So here it is. So I'll blow air into this. So I've been taking off the line. It's on the bottom here. I don't know if fluid's going to come out of here, land on the phone. See if I can wiggle it out. Well, I wiggled and wiggled and I got it out. Let's see if I can blow air through it. Well, I've managed to blow air through it. Hand pump. Goes up into this. Got a piece of hose over the side here. I'm just going to pump. And I should see fluid. Should be fluid coming out of that line in a minute. There it comes. All that milky stuff coming out. It's starting to look a little bit better. more like the colour it needs to be. So I think it's done its job. So I can stop that now. Just ran a couple of litres through that then, all pumped out. Let's just stop that. Next was that I pumped a bit more through this line itself. I've reconnected it to the cooler now, but I just ran it through the line, and as you can see, it's now red, not milk. So the line's clean, the cooler is clean. I just got to do the same with this line here. I'll attach this on here and pump it through. There it goes. It's a nice red colour. So I'll stop that now. This is what it looks like inside my transmission. The bottom of the tranny pan. And this is the metallic looking bits that I could see coming out of the bell housing. It should be that colour. So what happened was I replaced my cooler with a second-hand one that was not leaking. That's what I was after, a non-leaking cooler. But I forgot to flush it, and it was full of water. So about a litre of water mixed in with all of my tranny fluid, and the friction plates in the transmission have worn. It mimicked having a bad torque converter. Here's my torque converter. It's also got milky in there, you can see. I'll fill this up with petrol and flush it out. I'll clean this pan out. I've emptied all the fluid out of the system, so what I need to do is refill it with new red fluid and flush that through the oil cooler. And if you change your oil cooler with a second-hand unit, always flush the cooler. It's the filter. Also covered in metallic. So I'll put an amount of petrol in there. This will clean out the last of the milky residue. So it's full of petrol. Just tip it. Leave it for a few days with that fuel in there and it'll all dissipate into the atmosphere. Get some of that milky stuff out now. So I picked up a second-hand gearbox, had 330,000 Ks on it, AU dollars 935 total. This will save me $5,000 doing the job myself. So let's get started. Going to pull the gearbox out backwards. Lowered it down. So I undid that loom. Took the cross member out. It's all chained up to a car. It just needs to be pulled back a little bit more to get this off. I was having trouble removing the these nuts and bolts. Hopefully I could just pull this backwards a little more and get it out. I'm just going to mark lines on these so I get the angle right when I reinstall. It's going to drop a little and come backwards. Then it'll be almost at ground level and I'll have to jack the back of the car a little bit higher. It needs to come up another 3 or 4 inches. But I can pull this back enough to get the gearbox off this. It has fallen down off there. Gonna have to jack this up a bit or just keep dragging it out. So the old gearbox is over here. I've taken the handbrake cable off the old one and put it onto this one by taking the back of the drum apart. This is how I pulled it out, so this is how the new one's going to go in. That's a railroad sleeper, 2-inch block of wood. That high is about enough to get the bell housing under the car, so I'm going to pull the gearbox using a vehicle on the other side of the car. We've got this seat belt strapped. I'll just pull it along these sliders. Just these 2 pieces of wood here will help drag it along the bottom of the bell housing. I don't have the correct jack, so this will have to do. As I start dragging the gearbox, I will have the back end slightly raised just here with another strap onto this engine crane. Car pulls the gearbox that way under the car, and it will pull the engine crane along with it until I get the back of this drum round about here. Once it gets to that position, I can then put other blocks of wood underneath the car over that side and just swing the bell housing around and get it in position under the car. And from there you can start jacking it up with a bottle jack and blocks of wood. It's not easy. I haven't done it before, but this is how I took the thing out, so this is how I'll get this one back in.